What's up, everybody? It's Pac-Man here, and today we are going to be playing the Stanley Parable. I don't know why it took me so long to say the title there, but anyways, we are going to be playing this game. I found it on Steam. I've seen it quite a few times, kind of on like the Steam homepage and stuff. I got to get rid of my overlays here. Perfect YouTube intro here for sure. Check. Okay. I've seen this kind of a few times on my Steam homepage and stuff, and I was never really that interested in it. Then I clicked and watched the video, and it looks pretty interesting, so we're going to give it a try today.
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427, and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk.
If you type like that, then you obviously know you're going to keep your office job.
This is what employee 427 did every day of
That's terrible.
every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
As it Stanley was happy.
And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened. This complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
As we do. Here, while we're doing that, I gotta hurry and pull up the video here so I can see the live chat. Should be all set there. Okay.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Sensitivity is very high.
To go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Meeting room? Okay. We're gonna act like we know where the meeting room is. We're just gonna follow all the open doors. Some cabling in there. What is that? Some graphs.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Okay.
Yet there was not a single
Tips for not getting fired.
Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Ball up inside, take it out passive-aggressively on other coworkers. He's not coworkers for not supporting anymore. Okay. I think he said up.
Going to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Upstairs. Wow. This is a very nice office floor, I guess. Holy shit.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled,
this reminds me of like
Stanley wondered in disbelief
The
who
Simpsons.
orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number. 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Oh, this is weird. Okay, get in the elevator, I guess. It's kind of an interesting concept for a game. It's like there's a narrator telling you what to do, but not really.
Into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead.
Mind
to the
control
large door
facility.
that read Mind Control Facility.
But what happens if I go to escape? I want to know.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Violent death, you say? But is he telling us the truth? Maybe it's all a lie.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
He did. Indeed, didn't he?
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Whoa. What the hell?
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer
Oh,
to his
shit.
eyes, it reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man.
Oh.
And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Ah!
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Oh, what? Maybe I wanted to be crushed.
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see
What?
that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
What the fuck? The button sounds? Could I? No, I can't click them. Credits? What? Some solitaire office computers. Oh. Why is there... What was that? I want to know what that is. The countdown desk? One of the desks? Man. What do we get over here?
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
What? Oh, shit.
Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You
Oh,
can
shit.
stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let
Okay. Don't tell me what to do. I do what I want. Okay, now I want to do what you tell me to do. Oh, hey, we're back here.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
So, not everything that's said is necessarily true.
Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors. He entered the door on his left.
But pretty much if we follow what to do.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Now I don't really remember the code though.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an
4528?
indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's
2845.
desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation.
I don't remember
But
him
his
saying
attention
that.
was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could its purpose be? In fact, this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845.
2845.
But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing.
Yes. But
He stepped into the newly
complete
opened
luck.
passageway.
would have never totally been told the code. Okay. We're back here after we've totally didn't walk ourselves to death.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Okay. Now we are back onto the story here.
The lights rose on an
Oh, wow.
enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
The strength. I don't know. I already killed myself in this, so.
Now the monitors jumped
Holy
to life,
shit.
their true nature revealed. Each
Oh,
bore the
what?
number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
I forgot what number we were. We were like 473 maybe? Or 487? I don't know. Not that it matters. Let's see if there's something cool there or something.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with
Couple
his
people have been
boring
fired.
job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Sounds like a normal job.
No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working.
Oh, and it's
all of it
offline.
monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life, for he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
I did see a button over here. Does this do anything, though? Ooh. I thought maybe if I clicked it 5 times or something. Mind control idle.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
But what if I turn it on? I could follow the story, or we could test it.
Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control?
If we still turn it off.
I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say, 2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start.
Is he going to try to convince me to turn it off?
You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated? All right, I'm in a good mood. You're going to die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp.
So this has happened several times.
This version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this.
Oh, I can't turn it off.
You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock.
Oh my god.
These are precious
Another minute?
seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees.
Wait, but that means that he's controlling everything, though.
Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons. No, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button. Or this door.
I haven't even gone over there.
Something here will save me.
Should I?
That, Stanley? That this video game
should I wander over there?
Once?
I guess.
Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless.
Where's
to
4?
see you made humble. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. but I'm going to destroy it first.
No,
so
no,
you
no.
can't. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30
Oh,
seconds you
God.
have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing.
But you can add time.
Just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully?
I don't remember these buttons being here before,
Make
to
it
be honest.
count, or don't. It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be
Oh my God. Let me get to the 5. Let me get to the 5. Is he gonna put me back at the beginning? Yes. Oh my God. Well, I guess we'll do it all over again.
All of his co-workers were gone.
Oh my
What
God.
did it mean?
I'm gonna go insane listening to that over and over.
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
You know, maybe if I actually follow along with the story instead of questioning everything that he says.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open
That's
doors,
tempting too.
he entered the door on his left.
But I want to know what's over there. I could go on the right instead of the left.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office.
There's so many like
Stanley
50-50s
walked upstairs
that you
to
could
his
do
boss's
instead of.
office.
But the real question is, do I remember the
The
code?
moment he entered his
It's only the
manager's
third
office,
time I have to
Stanley
do it now.
froze in his tracks.
2,
Not
8,
a living
4,
soul
5?
anywhere.
Yes?
Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk.
I don't want to listen to you
That
talk.
kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming new age music.
Oh my God. This game is so random and I love it. I wish I would have bought this game sooner.
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
You know, they did that because I was going too fast and they made it basically take just as long as him explaining everything. That's awesome. Okay, I'll follow along with the story.
Through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
So this part gonna take some moment.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens.
I thought
What
maybe I could just
horrible
walk
secret
off,
did
that'd be
this
crazy.
place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
I do.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen.
Are they all the offices though, or is there gonna be like one
Eternally
that's
monitored in this place where
like there's a
freedom
ladder over
meant
there?
nothing.
I kind of want to know if like each of them are like different scenarios, you know, but it's like some of them are all factory building stuff. Well, I guess like, they could be people in the factory working, but
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true.
I think it's just everybody
Had
where they
Stanley
work.
really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated?
It would be kind of
to
cool if they were all
blindly?
like different endings of the story.
No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the
Okay, are these buttons actually here? Because I wanna.
with emotions, happy or sad,
Oh, they are here.
or
Okay.
content.
I never
Walking,
saw these other ones. I only saw the
all
last one.
monitored and commanded from this very place.
One.
And as the cold reality of his
Two.
past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life.
3.
For he would dismantle the controls once
Hey!
and for
Yeah,
all.
see, this was blocked off. Maybe it's because it's all dark in here. And I can only do it when the power's turned on? Interesting. So for last time, I don't know if I clicked the button and then it detonated, or it detonated when the timer
And
ran
when
out.
at last he found the blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel.
But aren't you
Whatever
technically
life
telling me
he
where to
lives,
go?
It will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
It's kind of trippy. Would you stop? Cat trying to knock over my drink.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Beat the game. Oh. What the hell?
All of his co-workers were
What do
gone.
you mean?
What could it mean? Stanley
So-
decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
This is weird. So basically, some of the options I do have to do something different. So
When
let's...
Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
I kind of do.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
That's the business room.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Yeah.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
For her? Who's
This is
her?
it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
Oh, jeez. I don't like that it's so dark. What the hell?
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this. To reach out
This
to
is so
her.
weird.
If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
Wait. What?
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right,
I can't
now,
move.
I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Oh.
Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife?
Oh my
They
god.
never commit their life to you. I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here. This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
What? Press C.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence. Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do.
I knew it.
Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
But I keep pressing other buttons and nothing happens.
But in his mind, in his mind he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful, and each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him. And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
Spend time with them.
So he went further. He imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go through either.
Oh my god.
At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold.
To prepare dinner?
As he wandered through this
What
fantasy
the hell?
world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable.
Tell your
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more
I knew.
time.
Tell you. I don't
But
have
there
a
is
wife.
no answer. How could there possibly be?
Is this gonna slowly mold back into my office?
Buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
I don't know. Fine, I won't do it. We can stare at the clock. Unless it literally just sits here until I do press the button. There's no way. How long will it let me go? I feel like for this game, it would let me go forever. Is it literally going to let me go forever until I press the button? Well, when the second hand goes around to 12, then I'll press it.
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that
I didn't press it.
Remains here. He's electing to kill himself. How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
You're putting me back in my office. I question nothing.
Because I can't. Not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
Oh, this game is interesting for sure. And we're back, you know, in this lovely office that I've never seen before.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Okay, I'll play through it again and see what happens. I will go through everything
When
like I'm
Stanley
supposed
came
to.
to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
I don't know what other decisions there are, that maybe I could go down the stairs instead of up.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Okay, I think we all know the drill by now. Blah, blah, blah. Dark secrets, the keypad. Stanley pushes some buttons. Oh, hey, look, it's a new passageway.
Oh my
Surprise.
That's awesome. I love that this game changes every time and that every decision is really your choice. Well, is it my choice? That's a real question. Every choice has a consequence.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Because it's like the game is actually aware of how many times that I've played this, though.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
What? Why can't I skip all of this? This is the longest part.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed.
Why is
Each
one
bore
different?
the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Wait, that's fired. Okay. I was trying to see if any of the monitors changed. There's like one up there that looked different than it was last time.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Well, we'll see where we go now.
No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof, the heart of the operation. controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content, walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again.
Why do I have to
exert
do
its
it
terrible
again?
power over another human life, for he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
I actually have to do this again.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes.
That's the same thing.
He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him. It was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be.
So literally the only thing I can do is go downstairs.
It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
But is there...
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense...
So I was
possibility
tricked
of
to
a new
play this one more time, though.
This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen.
Unless it's been trolling me the whole time.
Was happy.
Swear to God, if it puts me back in the office. Motherfucker. Ah.
Out like the back of his hand.
Whoa.
It was only a matter of time before he found the others, wherever they were. Just a matter of time.
Time. Okay, that's new. What about time?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Okay. But should I be playing this
Yet
over and
there was
over?
not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
But do I play through it again?
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Huh?
Here's the door, just go.
This time it doesn't even say... You've already heard this before. Can I even press up? No, it only lets me press down.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
I feel like I'm supposed to just play this over and
Lights
over.
rose on an enormous room packed with television.
I wish this part would
What horrible
speed up.
secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Because beyond this point, I don't think there's any other decisions that I can make that's different besides turning everything on or off.
Now the monitors jumped
Or
to
turn
life,
the
their true nature revealed.
the whole brain
Each
control
bore the
system.
number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
I think they're the same every time.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
And we're back.
Here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotion.
But there's stuff
Happy,
up there.
or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began
This
to
is
sink
the
in,
only thing that I haven't
Stanley
figured out.
decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Maybe I actually do have to turn the power on. Shit. I don't know.
Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control? Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that
This
machine
door
can
needs
do.
to open.
You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say, 2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start.
Hint.
What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated? All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway.
3 attempts.
I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons
Green
endlessly and
2.
then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go.
There's a
I'm
green.
sure whatever I
There's
come up with
totally
on the
green
next
buttons.
go around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the
All the green
clock
buttons
right
are the
now.
same, though.
These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley?
Press.
Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen.
I'm gonna try to do this.
Every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons. No, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button. Or this door. Everything, anything.
That's
Something
different.
here will save me.
I don't think he
Why
said
do you
that
think
before.
Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Sold?
Yes.
Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? But you really believe there's an answer? How many times will you replay this bit, looking desperately for a solution?
Oh my god.
100, 1,000?
This screws with me
I
so
look forward
bad.
to finding out and to watching the bomb go off each time you fail. Just you and me and the retching.
I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Metal over and over and over for all of eternity. And Stanley died again. And Stanley died again. And Stanley died again. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left.
No.
30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here. Just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life? Or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count. Or don't. It's all the same to me. All a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say, happily ever after.
God. Oh. Man. This game screws with me so much. Now there's just
All of
nothing.
his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
I'm just clicking on everything now. Waiting input. What? Did I click on the phone? But it's not going to let me go back, is it?
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Am I actually doing anything, though? Well, that's not changing. But this door didn't close, though, so it must mean something, right? I can just turn all of them off. I thought the red light had something to do with it.
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
Input received. It's just pink. Okay. Maybe we'll move on and see. The doors aren't closing.
When Stanley came to a set
Oh,
of
no,
two
that
open
one
doors,
closed.
he entered the door on his left.
This one has more. So I can
Yet
open
there
it,
was not a single person here either.
but it locks
Feeling
behind
a
me.
wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
There's got to be something. There's something here. Sliders. Rate of increase in grass per slide. What? Plant life. Football. Clear skin. Metamorphosis. Is it going to repeat now? I think it's just repeating now. Okay. Wait, what's...
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Shut up, there's something here. I know there's something here. It's the only door I could open.
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet.
No, there's
no reason
something.
to still be here.
There's something. I know there is.
It was baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet FA.
Oh my god. There's...
Are you really still in the broom closet? Standing around doing nothing? Why? Please offer me some explanation here. I'm genuinely confused.
I kind of want to know what he's going to say to me standing in here, though.
You do realize there's no choice or anything in here, right? If I'd said Stanley walked past the broom closet, at least you would have had a reason for exploring it to find out. But it didn't even occur to me because literally this closet is of absolutely no significance to the story whatsoever. I never would have thought to mention it.
I'm still going to stay.
Maybe to you this is somehow its own branching path. Maybe when you go talk about this with your friend, you'll say, "Oh, did you get the broom closet ending?"
Oh my god.
The ending was my favorite. I hope your
Favorite?
friends find this concerning.
But is there a broom closet in it? You know?
Stanley was fat and ugly and really, really stupid. He probably only got the job because of a family connection. That's how stupid he is. That or with drug money. Also, Stanley
Drug
is
money?
addicted to drugs and hookers.
God. Stanley. There's something
Well,
in here.
I've come to a very definite conclusion about what's going on right now. You're dead. You got to this broom closet, explored it a bit, and were just about to leave because there's nothing here when a physical melody of some sort shut down your central nervous system and you collapsed on the keyboard. Well, in a situation like this, the responsible thing is to alert someone nearby so as to ensure that your body is taken care of before it begins to decompose. Hello? Anyone who happens to be nearby? The person at this computer is dead. They have fallen prey to any number of your countless human physiological vulnerabilities. It's indicative of the long-term sustainability of your species. Please remove their corpse from the area and instruct another human to take their place, making sure they understand basic first-person video game mechanics and filling them in on the history of narrative tropes in video gaming, so that the irony and insightful commentary of this game is not lost on them. All right, when you've done that, just step out into the hallway.
Fine.
Ah, second player. It's good to have you on board. I guarantee you can't do any worse than the person who came before you. You too? Unbelievable. I'm at the mercy of an entire species of invalids. Perhaps there's a monkey nearby you can hand the controls to. A fish? Fungus? Look, you can hammer out the details. I'm not particularly picky. I'll just be waiting for when you're ready to pick up the story again.
Oh, what if I go back a third time? No, he's done. I guess.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's
Ooh,
office.
it's red down there.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations.
1, 2, B4.
For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley
Oh my
said to
God.
himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground.
Holy shit.
Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical star field, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up.
Oh.
How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself.
Why could I still see?
I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please. It's all
weird
I
that I
want.
can still walk around.
I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. Stanley began screaming. Please,
Ah.
someone wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
Oh.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
What?
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of
What
work.
the hell?
But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people
So
look
brutal.
like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better.
What?
Then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
What? Is there really an ending to this game? I'm actually questioning. I'm pretty sure. I feel like I'm being played with at this point. I mean, obviously I am, but like. There's gotta be something that I'm not doing. I've done everything that I can. So confused. I can click on so much stuff though.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Oh.
He decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
I don't know. I feel like there was something I missed in the warehouse, maybe? Try going that way again.
Oh, new content. What does that mean? New
Oh.
content.
What the hell? So this game does change for how many times I play it?
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released
Oh,
in
God.
2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
just want to make sure that there's nothing I can do.
Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure. Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or... Oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, onto the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it. I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if some... Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Gimme the content, Stanley.
What is this, dude?
All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
This is so stupid. Is it just gonna let me not jump after the... That's so stupid. Oh. I don't know why this game has me pressing literally every button.
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right? Goodness, another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could counter 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh, wait. There's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is. That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally.
Twitter.
It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game, and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
Oh. New, different. I like it.
Psst. Stanley, come over here. In the vent. I want to show you something.
What's up here? No, I don't want to do the same loop again. Is it gonna make me do the same loop? I hate. Please.
You don't want to see the cool
Okay,
surprise?
okay,
Well, fine.
okay, I'll
You're a
come.
dork in- Oh, never mind. You're not a dork.
Fine.
Oh, Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past, and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it.
Oh, wow.
Just our little secret. Take a look. I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC.
Why?
You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful the Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of 2013 when the game originally launched? Back
Oh,
then,
God.
video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
Graphs. Oh, jeez. Did I just say something? Go outside. Don't play for 5 years. Achievement. It's impossible to get this achievement. I didn't play the first one, so. So that's supposed to be nominee, but I don't know. Video game releasing today. Parable deals through choices. And then us dying. Little Stanley.
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism. 10 out of 10.
Don't read any reviews except for this one.
James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created.
Honorable
it was
mention.
Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. Just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
Yeah. What's down here? Memory zone maintenance. Okay. I wanted to go through there. Person of the year.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games, and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The
Snake
game
oil
was perfect.
salesman routine.
It didn't need anything else.
Jesus.
It didn't need new content. It just needed to be left alone, to spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game memories.
The serious room. Did that open? I think that just opened, didn't it? Is that the only thing that opened?
These were simpler times,
Oh.
Stanley. What I wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again. Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here? Oh no. Oh God, no. Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam, the online video game distributor.
Oh my
I
God.
haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
Oh, jeez.
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! Funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
This is actually very funny. More bad reviews.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did, but maybe it wasn't. Oh dear. What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered.
Oh, another one.
What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button.
A skip button?
A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have.
A skip button there
And
is.
here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts... Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations.
But what if we press it
Of course, you
again?
made a description of it, but if I had to describe it, I'd say it was perhaps less of a rumination. Well there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you?
Yeah.
That's the power of the button. The minute you start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof, and it's all over. Oh, I can't wait to see what Cookie 9 will say about this, and whether they'll edit the rating of their Steam review, or at least change some of the wording, perhaps. To be
Change some of
honest,
the wording.
I don't even know if one can change their review in the first place. I guess I should become better educated on exactly how Steam works.
I mean, when you're on
That
Steam.
would have been the smart thing to check on before... Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45
Holy
minutes.
shit.
It's not unendurable by any means, but it's, well, there's really only so much I can ramble on to myself about. I know, it's shocking, isn't it? But at any rate, I do suggest that we not press the button again. Stanley! Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been
12 hours? Holy
You've
shit.
just been frozen there.
Frozen.
I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really
there's nowhere else to
getting
go.
longer, and my God, there's no way out of the room.
Oh, shit.
Stanley, the door is gone. It's completely gone.
Oh, it is.
I've looked at it from every angle. I've checked every one of those walls 1,000 times, and there's no door, Stanley. There's no door. There's just you,
No door.
button, and if you keep pressing it, I have
Make sure
no
that
idea
this
what
is-
will happen. I have no idea how long I'll be made to sit here, and more than anything else, I don't know how to stop you from pressing the button
Oh,
again.
shoot.
I can't control anything in this room, Stanley. I can't touch it, and I have to.
Apparently my YouTube was frozen. I'm sorry, guys.
No matter how
Go
much I
back.
plead with you, you're going
I
to
think
press the button again. Why would you?
28452.
I've been thinking and thinking, and I don't know what I can do to convince you otherwise. Oh my God.
There's a lot more you can do.
It's all because of those
Yeah, I'm
reviews.
starting to see that now.
Those reviews that I couldn't get out of my head. I just couldn't ignore the negative feedback. Why was it so
Oh shit, sorry guys. I don't know why it
Problem.
sometimes it
Why
freezes
does
like that.
anyone's opinion matter so much
Maybe
to
I
me?
just
I've never
mute
even
that.
met Cookie Nine. I have
There
no
we go.
idea who they are.
Okay, it's time to skip.
Oh, Stanley, you're back.
Oh my god.
You're back. Oh my goodness.
It's dark,
I
the
have so
plant's
wanted to
dying.
see you again. Stanley, I think it's been a week
A week?
or 2 weeks. I've been
There's
sitting
still
here,
power to the button.
just sitting here, not a single person to speak with. And you'd think that that's just how it's always been, right? Me.
It's so
Hello,
dark.
It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time. I stopped keeping track after a year. Have
What?
you ever sat
A year?
in one place and not moved for one entire year?
My
Let
God.
me describe it for you. To begin with, there is only regret. There is only the turning wheel of missed opportunity.
There's still not a door.
Nothing at all but
Mr.
regret
Narrator.
for the longest time, Stanley. Days, months. I lost it all in a blur of the deepest longing to undo the past. And when that feeling had begun to subside, what took its place is what I can only describe as the collapse of every moment I have ever experienced my entire life. All of them collapsed down into a single instant. In that instant, I could see myself clearly, calmly, with a collective heart. It was an impossibly rich wellspring of both delight and disgust simultaneously. I was
No, you
consumed
can't jump.
by it.
Seriously,
I
we
could do
disabled
nothing
it.
but wallow in it for what felt
Oh.
like an eternity.
I don't know how I
What
got that,
now
but
know was far less. You see, it was a revelation for me. It
how long has it been now? Oh. Is he gone? Is there a door? Mr. Narrator. He might be dead. I'm not gonna lie. Oh my god, no, that's annoying.
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs down review and make all of their pitiful demands. But then, he's talking too much, they said. First, he didn't entertain us, now he won't shut up. It's the inconsistency, it's the lack of accountability, it's the unwillingness to examine with an uncompromising heart the words that they are speaking into the world. As though there were no consequences for a lack of cohesion in one's assessment of others. But of course, absolutely anyone can leave a review. So here's what we get. We get these demands that seek everything and are accountable to nothing. We get a world where someone will say, oh, there should be a skip button. You should be able to freeze Stanley in place while the narrator sits there forever and ever. We want all of this in the new Stanley Parable. We demand it. And then, because it was said, because it was spoken, now it simply has to happen. The most immediate...
Okay. So I'm confused. He came back and then he's gone?
The end is never the end, is never the end.
Oh my god.
End
It's going
is never
crazy.
the end, is never the end, is never the end, is never the never the end, is never the end, is never the
He's going crazy. Oh. Got some water leaking over here. Oh my god. Oh. Must be the water took its toll on everything. Oh, the button's still here. How many times can we click this button? Oh, there's sunlight now. Still no door. Still no narrator. What? It's just been patched, I guess. Okay. It looks exactly the same. Except for there's noises now. Whoa. What the hell? Will that light back up? I want to see if it lights up again. I don't think it will. What the hell? Yeah, I think our button's now broken. Yeah, it's broken. Well, guess it's time to leave in this. What the fuck? There's nothing more. Nothing left. So I guess we just wander out into the abyss. See where the game takes us. Oh my god. How long is it?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
New content? Okay.
Oh, good. You noticed my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
Okay. Back in the elevator we go.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this Ultra Deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this Ultra Deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever the Stanley Parable 2.
Oh god. Oh. The end is never the end again.
See, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for. Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential.
The meaning is just different. Oh my, different fonts for
Now,
the
to
new
be clear,
title.
I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out.
New
Game
features.
development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
It's on the bus. I don't want to take a bus. Oh my.
Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
Office decoration. Reassurance bucket. The button that says the name of the player that is playing the game. Oh god. Hear your name in game. Okay.
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the person playing the game. Isn't that wonderful?
That sounds lovely. Yes.
Jim. Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you role play as Jim to really simulate
Role play as
the
Jim.
experience of this feature. Just play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim. I want you to imagine... Jim. Whoa, hold on. I wasn't finished setting up the backstory. If you don't properly roleplay as Jim, then you'll never understand the impact of this button. Otherwise, it's just a stupid button that says somebody else's name. Okay, we're doing it again, and this time let me finish first.
Fine.
Now, allow yourself to become Jim. Imagine yourself driving to work as Jim, playing frisbee on the weekends as Jim, staying up all night for a popcorn and horror movie sleepover as Jim, developing a crippling substance addiction as Jim, rediscovering yourself through friendly religious groups as Jim, and finally dying a slow death at an old age, surrounded by members of your cult as Jim. Do you feel it in your soul? Are you really, truly Jim right now? If so, then please step forward and press... Yes! You see? What a thrill! What a rush! That was you! The button described you. Jim. Ooh, it hits even harder the second time. If this were the only new feature in the Stanley Parable 2, it would still be worth the money. Let's take a break from the Jim button. I'm too emotionally drained from all of this personal validation.
So, can I go in any of these stores, or do I gotta go back to the... I think I gotta go back to the new features. So stupid.
I suppose I could allow only people named Jim to play the Stanley
No
Parable 2.
screenshots.
That would actually save me the work of finishing this feature.
Infinite hole. Oh my god. The reassurance bucket. I do need to pause, because I gotta stop. I want to see what this reassurance bucket is, though.
A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless
nothing in
despair
there.
in those who played it. Well, I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive
Sounds like just something
while the
to keep me
bucket is
from
in your
throwing up.
arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on, give it a try. Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body.
Oh, I'm
In
so
fact,
excited.
Can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think
Why
that
does
just
my
holding
right
it
click
has made you the
move my
slightest bit
character
more
forward?
attractive as a person. The
You
benefits
could
of
play
the
this
bucket
game with
is
literally
beyond
only your mouse, I'm
measure.
pretty sure.
All this and more
I don't like
awaits
that
you
feeling.
in the Stanley Parable 2.
I just get to keep the bucket. Oh my god.
Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already. Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like
Like balloons.
But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday
Happy
and
12th birthday,
Happy
step
12th
niece.
Birthday. Which would you go with? You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all
Oh my
along.
god.
Happy 12th birthday, step-niece it is.
That's so dumb.
Or actually, maybe I should have gone with... No, I've made my decision. We're moving on.
Free achievement. Pull the lever, receive your new achievement. Okay.
Now, here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes, you see, you'll come to this leave... Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the achievement is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen.
Thought maybe if I clicked it more times something would happen, but fine. I don't want a free achievement anyway. I do need to wrap this up though, because I'm gonna play a little bit of Tarkov before I go to bed. Friend just downloaded the game, so
What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet?
wish there was a save though. I don't know. I think we're gonna end it here. Sorry I didn't get to read the comments. I don't know why I have my YouTube pulled up on my second monitor. That's what I use to read chats and everything. It wasn't playing correctly, so I'm sorry about that, guys. If you come back or tune back into another video, hopefully I'll have that fixed. But thank you guys, everybody who liked, comment, subscribed. I do appreciate the support recently. And with that, I will talk to you guys later.